In this video, we are going to show you the perfect itinerary for the Atacama Desert. One of the questions we get the most is how to build a logical itinerary through the driest desert in the world, ensuring correct acclimatization so as not to suffer from the altitude and seeing the most surreal landscapes of your life. To see the absolute basics, just Valle de la Luna and a lagoon you need 3 days. But to take it easy, visit the geysers, the salt lagoons, where you float the hot springs and see the stars. We recommend at least 5 to 7 days. That is why we prepared a super complete 6-day itinerary with the best of San Pedro de Atacama and surroundings, so you do not waste time. So let us get started. What is the best time to visit Atacama? The desert can be visited all year round, but the climate is extreme. The best time by far is in the shoulder seasons from March to May and September to November. In these months, the weather is more stable with hot days and cool nights, and the sky is usually clear. Winter from June to August is very cold with freezing temperatures at night and the possibility of snow, which can close some high-altitude tours. Summer from December to February is hot, but there is a risk of the altiplanic winter, which brings rain and clouds disrupting stargazing. And how many days to stay in Atacama? The altitude requires you to take tours slowly. The number one mistake is trying to do everything in the first few days and getting sick soroche. The bare minimum we recommend is 4 full days, but the ideal is 6 or 7 days to include the Terra Salt Flat, when open, or relax in the hot springs without rushing. Now let us get to the day by day. Day 1. Arrival and acclimatization. Valle de la Luna. Arrive via Calama Airport CJC and take the shared transfer van that you booked in advance to San Pedro de Atacama. The trip takes 1 hour and 15 minutes. Check in and rest a little, drink plenty of water, and avoid alcohol and red meat to get your body used to it. In the afternoon around 3 o'clock, take the tour to Valle de la Luna. It is a classic and is right next to the city. You will walk through sand dunes, see salt caves, and the Three Marys Formation. The highlight is the sunset at the Coyote Stone Kari viewpoint, watching the Andes Mountains change color. The tour costs about $30 plus the entrance fee. Have a light dinner on Kelly Street like a pizza at El Charrua. Staying in a good region will make your trip much easier. The strategy in San Pedro de Atacama is to decide between the practicality of the small center or absolute silence. The first option, and the most practical, is the center near Caracol Street. The advantage is that you are steps away from restaurants, markets, and agencies. You return tired from tours and are already close to everything. The disadvantage is the noise of tourists and dogs at night. The second option is the A-list rural neighborhoods like Ilu de Quitor or Chakar. The advantage is peace-charming hotels and a starry sky in the window. The disadvantage is that it is a 20-minute walk or 5 minutes by bike from the center, and the streets are dark. You need a flashlight. The third option is isolated luxury like the Tierra or Alto Atacama hotels, which are far away and offer an all-inclusive system with their own explorations. We created this personalized map that explains exactly which is the best region. Staying near Caracoles or at the entrance of the A-list, you cannot go wrong. We will leave here on the screen QR code and in the video description the link to this map. We created them on the hotel site we always use, as it always has the best prices and free cancellation. And remembering that in this link below, we always organize everything you need to set up your entire trip for the lowest price. The sites we use to build our trips, and that have everything much cheaper, such as international eSIM cell phone chip to have internet in the village, signal disappears on tours, discounted travel, insurance tickets for all the attractions we mentioned, good and cheap hotels we have already stayed at, and the global account to carry Chilean pesos or dollars paying much lower fees. Save this page in your favorites. Day 2. Salt Lagoons and Sunset. Baltanache. Enjoy the free morning to walk through the small center of San Pedro, visit the Adobe Church and the craft fair. Have lunch early at Barros Restaurant, famous for hearty Chilean food and live music. In the afternoon, take the tour to the hidden lagoons of Baltanache. These are 7 turquoise blue lagoons in the middle of a white salt flat. The salt concentration is so high that you do not sink. Get in the water, it is cold, and float. The tour costs about $50. On the way back, you usually stop to watch the sunset with a cocktail pisco sour in the middle of the desert. Day 3. The postcard. Piedras, Rojas, and Altiplanic. Today is the day to go up in altitude over 13,000 feet. It is a full-day tour. You will visit the Altiplanic lagoons, Miscanti and Meñique's 2 navy blue lagoons surrounded by volcanoes and yellow vegetation. Then head to Piedras Rojas in the Talar Salt Flat. It is the most beautiful landscape in Atacama. Light green water, red volcanic rocks, and blue sky. On the way, you stop at Laguna Chaxa to see flamingos and cross the Tropic of Capricorn. Lunch is usually served in a local village like Soquer. The tour costs $70. Have dinner at La Franchuteria, a delicious French bakery that serves sandwiches and quiches. Day 4. Freezing dawn. El Tatio geysers. Prepare to wake up at 4 in the morning and be very cold down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. The van goes up to El Tatio geysers, the highest geothermal field in the world. You see the sunrise with steam columns rising from the earth. It is magical. Have breakfast up there, warmed by the steam. On the way back, stop at the Putana River Ford to see wildlife and at the village of Machuca to taste llama skewers and goat cheese pastel. You return around noon, rest a little, and in the afternoon, go to the Puritama Hot Springs. They are natural pools of hot water in a green canyon. It is perfect relaxation. The tour costs about $60 for geysers and another $60 for hot springs if done separately. Day 5. Stars and Sand, Astronomy and Death Valley. Sleep in late. If you have energy, rent a bike and go to Pucará de Quidor, an ancient indigenous fortress with a panoramic view. Or take the tour to Death Valley to see the dunes and practice sandboarding. At night, take the astronomical tour. It is unmissable. Atacama has the clearest sky in the world. You go to a dark farm, learn about constellations with the naked eye, and observe planets and nebulas in professional telescopes, ending with hot chocolate and a photo. It costs about $35. Attention, do not do this tour on full moon days, as the moonlight outshines the stars. Plan your trip during the new moon. Day 6. Route of the Salt Flats and Farewell. If it is open, check weather conditions. Do the Route of the Salt Flats or Terra Salt Flat. It is a tour of extreme altitude and otherworldly landscapes with giant stone monoliths, monks of the Pacana, and vertical salt flats. If you prefer something lighter before leaving, visit Laguna Sejar and Ojos del Salar. Do the last craft shopping in the square. Take the transfer back to Calama Airport at least 3 hours before the flight. An important tip is to buy tours in advance or book packages. Negotiating on the spot on Caracoles Street can be risky in high season, and you might run out of spots on the best tours like Astronomical and Piedras Rojas. We will leave in the QR code on the screen and in the description the link to the site we always use to book with reliable agencies and pay in dollars, often in installments. Now let us talk about transportation. How to get around Atacama. To arrive, you fly to Calama CJC. The airport transfer to San Pedro is essential to book in advance, as there is no easy public bus and taxis are very expensive. It costs about $30 to $40 round trip. To get around inside the village, do everything on foot. The center is small. To go to the A-list remote neighborhoods, rent a bike for half a day. It costs about $8. For tours, agencies pick you up at the hotel if it is in the center or nearby Alice, or set a meeting point. Renting a car 4x4 truck is only worth it if you have experience in off-road driving and want a lot of freedom, but remember, there is no cell phone signal and the roads are deserted. Quick shopping tips. The craft fair in the main square is great. Buy alpaca and llama wool sweaters. They are warm and last a lifetime. Colorful socks, aguayos, Andean fabrics, and silver and lapis lazuli jewelry. Coca leaves and rica rica tea are also good gifts. Mandatory documentation for international tourists. To enter Chile, rules are simple. You generally just need your valid passport. No visa is required. And remembering travel insurance. Medical costs in Chile are expensive, and in San Pedro, there is only a basic health post. Any serious emergency such as appendicitis or severe altitude sickness requires transport to Calama or Santiago. We never travel without it, and in the link in the description there is the comparator we use. And how much does it cost to eat in Atacama? It is expensive as everything comes from outside. A menu del dia full lunch costs about $8 to $10. A dinner at Adobe or Baltanash costs about $30 to $50. The golden tip is to buy empanadas on the street or cook if you're in a hostel. Try the Rica Rica and Chañar ice cream. And what to do at night. The club in Atacama is seeing stars or having dinner. Most tourists sleep early because of the early morning tours. But the Chela Cabur bar is where locals and backpackers gather to drink cheap beer and chat. And if you are traveling with kids, Atacama is an adventure, but the altitude and dry climate are difficult for babies. Children from 7 years old enjoy it much more, especially sandboarding and floating in the lagoons. If you liked this detailed itinerary, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much and safe travels.